It came from the earth. In the year of our Lord, 1490, humanity would begin a descent into a nightmare from which there was no waking. A foul stench arose from the earth that suffocated all life in its grasp. Crops began to fail as famine gripped the land, and the creeping death, as they call it, began to send Europe into madness. As the years went on, the creeping death became a fog, first lowly hanging towards the ground, but each season it continued to grow. There was nowhere to run, nowhere to escape, except by climbing higher into man-made structures. By 1493, the fog reached up to a man's waist. Doom companies were formed from the strongest and most desperate of individuals. They roamed the lands with homemade breathing apparatuses looking for supplies, refuge, or any sense of hope. These are the stories of those companies as they climb ever higher, seeking to survive for just one more day. This is 1490 Doom. Alright, welcome back to Miniature Game Montage and our opening game of 1490 Doom by Buer Games. This game was recently launched on GameFound and was recommended to me by some of my subscribers. I've absolutely fallen in love with the lore and the stories to be told. I will put a link down below so you can check out their website. I believe a late pledge manager is opening soon in case you want to support their efforts. In our first tale, the Black Ravens stumble across the Bishop's Order near a remote castle. The Black Ravens Doom Company has an assassin as their leader. Nobody knows his name or origin. He's just simply called the Black Raven. He carries a crossbow and has improved his combat to a 3+. A scavenger named Weller joins him, hoarding everything he can find. He carries a dagger and a grappling hook. The muscle of the group is a brute named Gregor. He carries a club and also has a ladder. The Bishop's Order is led by Martin, a warrior priest with a mace and grappling hook. A scout named Philippe is with them. He carries a bow and has a canister of creeping death. Lastly, his brother, a hulking knight named Jadot, equipped with a sword and shield and 6 vitality. In this initial matchup, Doom companies will fight over 3 resource caches scattered across the battlefield. 2 victory points will be awarded to the Doom company that has the highest model on the board, another victory point for the company that has the most models alive, and a 3rd victory point for opening the most resource caches. Will be scheduled for 7 rounds unless a company is eliminated or there is a tie in which we will fight to the death. As always, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoy the story. In the initial initiative roll, the Black Raven Doom Company will be up first. The assassin moves forward and dashes. On the other side of the board, the scout with his early bird ability already deployed on the battlefield is going to move and dash to a cache that he set. The brute then moves on to the board for the Black Ravens as he moves and dashes. Martin, the warrior priest, will do the same. The scavenger, quick on his feet, will move and dash to the castle walls. Just to the left of the scavenger, the knight is in chase as he moves and dashes slowly. That brings us to the end of turn 1, and as we look to turn 2, priority rolls go to the Bishop's Order. As the turn begins, the scout passes a skill check and begins to rummage through the cache and finds a scholarly scroll. This could provide useful later. He then moves to the ladder. The scavenger then activates as he sees the knight approaching and throws his grappling hook on the wall. His first throw is a miss, but he is determined and throws again, and it is successful. He then begins his ascent up the wall. As he dangles from the rope near the top, the knight activates and begins to move and uses a dash to close the gap. The assassin activates next, using an action to move to the ladder, and then an action to climb it. The warrior priest can see the brute coming and quickly reverses course with a move and a dash to get inside the castle. The brute then activates and uses his full move to get to the castle walls. Turn 2 comes to a close, as 2 from the Black Raven Doom Company have breached the castle. The Bishop's Order, with their scout, will steal priority on the tie as we go to turn 3. The knight, seeing the scavenger dangling from the rope, moves to it and begins to pull and shake the rope. The grappling hook loses its grip and falls along with the scavenger. The scavenger loses a point of vitality and now lays at the knight's feet. The knight towers over him, ready to land a final blow. Meanwhile, the assassin tries to secure a cache by passing a skill check, but he fails. This action lifts his cloak and he can be seen, and then he moves out of line of sight. The scout takes the bait, moving forward to the loot cache and attempting to open it. With a successful skill check, he finds some herbs and tonic. He is now face to face with the assassin, however, and at the wrong end of a crossbow. The brute looks to breach the castle walls as he sets up a ladder and ascends it. The warrior priest can see the brute wants nothing to do with him in combat as he moves to the ladder. He then uses an action to climb it. At the end of the turn, the Bishop's Order have secured the high ground for now. The scavenger peers down the knight that is now too close for comfort, and the scout is in range of a kill shot. With the priority going to the Bishop's Order, the scout tries to activate before the assassin. He throws a deadly canister of creeping death. A skill check from the assassin is failed. He loses a vitality and becomes immobilized. The scout then moves under the bridge to protect the ladder. The scavenger, tied up with the knight, attempts to fight him with his dagger. He fumbles with the weapon and is unable to land a strike. He then reaches down to retrieve his grappling hook. As the knight parries, he knocks the weapon from the scavenger's hand and does 2 points of damage. The knight then swings his sword, hitting once. The scavenger cannot deflect it and takes 2 more damage. The scavenger is down to his last breath as the brute moves forward and closes the gap on the scout. With a successful skill check, the warrior priest sets his grappling hook and ascends the castle wall. And at the end of the turn, the warrior priest looks down on the action, the assassin immobilized, the scavenger significantly wounded, but his scout facing down the club of a brute. The Bishop's Order will have the first action in the next turn. The scout attempts to draw his bow and fire, but in his haste he misses. He reloads his weapon and stands firm as the scavenger attempts to get away from the knight. The brute uses his rage to charge into the scout. With 3 swings from his club, he lands 2 piercing blows. The scout is reduced to 0 vitality with his breathing apparatus breached. The scout begins to choke on the creeping death and calls out for aid. From atop the highest tower, the warrior priest hears his call, but first attempts to search, finding some food. He then moves to the edge of the tower and reads the last rites to the scout, which gives him 1 vitality. The assassin activates next and climbs the castle walls on a 3+. The assassin then moves, looking to close the gap on the warrior priest. Below the castle walls, the knight chases down the scavenger with a move and a dash. As the turn closes, the initiative will shift to the Black Ravens. Up first, the brute swings his club at the scout but misses. He then pushes the scout backwards, and a failed skill check from the scout sees him plummet to the bottom, but he does not suffer any damage. With only 1 vitality remaining, the scout narrowly escapes death. The knight then closes the gap on the scavenger again, swinging his weapon and hitting once. The blow cannot be deflected, and the scavenger is taken down. The assassin then activates, moves forward, and then climbs the rope still dangling from the castle walls. The warrior priest turns toward him, swinging his mace and landing a hit. The blow cannot be deflected. The warrior priest then pushes the assassin, who fails a skill check, falling to the bottom and taking 1 more point of damage. The turn comes to a conclusion as the scout uses his herbs and tonic to heal. He then moves away from the castle walls. In the final turn, the priority does firmly go to the Black Ravens. Sensing that time is short, the assassin passes a skill check to scale the wall. He attempts to push the warrior priest, but the warrior priest stands firm. The warrior priest readies his mace and lands a piercing blow that bypasses the assassin's armor. Dealing 1 damage, he then pushes the assassin towards the edge, and the assassin fails a skill check. The assassin loses his footing and plummets to the bottom. He takes an additional damage and his last breath. Seeing this, the brute scales the ladder and then attempts to pass a skill test to climb the wall, but he fails. Down to a man, and with the creeping death encircling the area, the Doom Company flees. And with that, our first game of 1490 Doom comes to a close. Really quick and easy to learn game. There were a few mechanics that we could have done a little better in this game, but a lot of fun. It is played on a round 24-inch board, and in the game found, you'll see the castle and the miniatures that you saw on the table today. I literally printed all this stuff up in a few days and was ready to start having games. It is a lot of fun. I do highly suggest you check out their website for more information on the lore. It is really good. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. Supporters Club, your names are on the screen now. Thank you so much for your support. That is by no means necessary. If you've watched the video this far, you've done more than enough to support the channel, so thank you so much. We will see you in the next one. Take care.